I cover so much important information. We cover so many hardcore issues that are life and death for liberty and freedom. But this next issue is one of the biggest. We have, and so I just want to highlight this right now for everybody. This is important. There is a systematic move through Section 802 of the USA Patriot Act, through the John Warner Defense Authorization Act, through the Enemy Combatant Act, and through this piece of legislation. The other stuff I just mentioned is passed. This is very close to passing. But they're saying they're going to go ahead and implement this to the Enemy Combatant Act, even if they don't pass S.3081, the Violent Belligerence Act. And when you read S.3081, that looks like it may pass, introduced March 4, 2010 by John McCain and Lindsey Graham. And shamefully, Inhofe is behind this because it's conservative to do this. It says U.S. citizens will be stripped outside of a court for any reason the Pentagon wishes or any designation of the president or for any intelligence gathering purposes. Okay? Now, that is a fundamental end of all freedom. Because look at Hatari, a federal judge, looked at the evidence and said they didn't even threaten to attack anybody. They talked and said maybe if things get bad, we'll have to fight the police. They had some fake, fighting scenarios in their drills where they were fighting gun confiscation. This is ridiculous. Release them. The feds have appealed that because they got a trial. They got a court hearing. Okay? Under this, they wouldn't get a hearing. And this is what they want to use. And I told you 8 years ago the Patriot Act was written for the American people. And now I've seen the articles hundreds of times where the state of Tennessee used the Patriot Act more than 10,000 times this year. Just search the term Patriot Act used in non-terror-related cases. Patriot Act being used by states. Patriot Act being used by counties. Marijuana, family violence, resisting police. And then you don't get your due process, and it makes it federal crimes. Now, Senator Lieberman has been all over TV. I know you've heard it or seen it because I'm not even looking for it. I've heard it all over radio and TV. We have articles about this with his quotes and links to the TV newscast. Senator Lieberman denies citizenship to suspected terrorist. Now, what did Rahm Emanuel say 3 years ago? What did he say 2 years ago? What did he say a month ago? He said, if we think maybe you could possibly be a terrorist, not that we think maybe you could be, but we think maybe you could be possibly a terrorist, you don't get a Second Amendment. Well, what has Bloomberg now called for? Lieberman, no U.S. citizenship for terrorist. That means no trial. They just say you're a terrorist. No due process. Lieberman, deny citizenship to suspected terrorist. Well, really, it should be revoke citizenship extrajudicially. That's what this is. No U.S. citizenship rights for terrorists. If you're a citizen, your rights are taken away. If they say, without a trial, you're a terrorist. Oh, the Hatari militia, they don't get any rights because we say they're terrorists. Well, prove it in court. No, we can't prove it in court, so we say no court, no hearing. In this Belligerence Act, it states that you can be taken to any location, even offshore, and never get a trial and be, quote, given enhanced interrogation and never heard from again. Now, this is so bad that Chucky Schumer had been supporting it for the last 2 weeks, but he finally read the bill. As bad as Schumer is, Schumer changes tune on stripping extremists of citizenship. Raw story. So even, I hate to say Chucky Schumer's done something good. This may be the first time I've ever seen Chucky Schumer, the gun grabber, do something good. But he's saying, I mean, do you understand the magnitude of what we're talking about here? I mean, I know I keep saying the magnitude. The magnitude of this is off the charts insane. The magnitude of this. I want to play a clip now of Bloomberg saying, no judge, no jury. The FBI should be able to say, when you do your NICS background check, which is federal registration, which we always told you they'd start denying people for outside felonies. Now it's misdemeanors. Now it's PTSD. Now it's We just feel like it. You don't get a Second Amendment, no appeal, no nothing. Now, here is Bloomberg testifying before Congress to pass the no-fly, no-buy. If they put you on this fake list, you don't get a Second Amendment, and then they could just expand the list to anybody they want. Here it is.
When gun dealers run background checks that they have to, by law, send to the FBI, shouldn't FBI agents have the authority to block sales of guns and explosives to those on the terrorist watch list and deemed too dangerous to fly? I actually believe that they should, and so do 500 mayors who are part of our bipartisan coalition of mayors against illegal guns. But right now, the fact is they don't. And as Senator Lautenberg and Congressman King have just said, it's time to close this terror gap in our gun laws. At a time when the threat of terrorism is still very real, as we in New York City know all too well, I think it's imperative that Congress close this terror gap in our gun laws and close it quickly. The car bomb the NYPD found in Times Square on Saturday night was not the only attempted terrorist attack on our city since 9/11.
It was.
Far from it, and sadly...
I can't even look at these mafia thugs up there sitting there saying, we want the power to extrajudicially strip you of the Second Amendment whenever we want and use the FBI NICS system to stop anybody we feel like shouldn't be able to own a gun. And you better believe that's targeted at you. What did Bloomberg say on CBS Monday? What did he say? He said, if I had to bet, I think it's one of these anti-government health care people. If he had to bet, you're the terrorist. He wants your guns. There's a total gun ban in New York. I mean, it's just sick. It's sick. Finish the clip.
We don't think it will be the last. Our founding fathers did not write the Second Amendment to empower people who wanted to terrorize a free state. They wrote it to protect people who could defend the security of a free state. Today, the security of our free state is being tested by terrorists. And I urge you to take the common sense steps in this law to strengthen law enforcement, including closing the terror gap and to protect the American people from more attacks. Well, I came away pleased in the sense that the public saw something and did something. As Senator Collins pointed out, we keep telling the public to do, turn security over to the professionals. You can be the eyes and the ears, but they're the ones with boots on the ground.
He's not only saying outside of law they can just ban anybody they want from owning guns for no reason who hadn't committed a crime. He said the Second Amendment was basically for professionals. And then he goes on to say law enforcement to protect the state. Did you hear that? He's saying the Second Amendment is for the military and police, which is what his public stance is. So he's saying you don't get a Second Amendment. The American people are terrorists. Bloomberg is the real terrorist.
You worry.